Om Ganana Tva Ganapatigam Avamahe Kavim Kavinam Jyeshtarajam Brahmanam Brahmanaspada Anashrinvan Nodibisi Sadanam Sri Mahaganapataye Namaha Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Bhirvajinivati Dhinam Avitrevatu Mahasaraswati Namaha Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Guruve Sarvalokanam Vishaje Bhavaroginam Hideye Sarvavidyanam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Asmin Guru Charanarvindabhyam Namaha Devim Vachamajanenta Devaha Tam Vishwarupa Pasho Vadanti Sano Mandreshu Murjanduhana Dhenurvagasman Upatushtataitu Vyasam Vasishtanattaram Shakte Pautramakalmasham Parasharatmajam Bande Shukatatam Taponidim Vyasaja Vishnu Rupaja Vyasa Rupaja Vishnave Namo Vai Brahma Nidaye Vasishtaja Namo Namaha Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Shiva Shakti Samarambam Bhaskara Acharya Madhyamam Asmat Srinatha Varjantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shri Lita Mahatripura Sundari Sameda Shri Chandrapoli Shwaraya Namaha Shri Kanchi Kamakoti Peethadipati Jagatguru Shri Shankaracharya Shri Charanayoho Namaha. So while Radha joins, I want to go to the Maslow's theory, which is very important. Just to not go too deep into it, but just to give a overall revision, because Radha brought it up last time. So, either one of you familiar with the Maslow's theory? You remember what it is? No? Okay. It's okay. I don't know many things, so we are here to learn what we don't know. So Maslow's theory is taught in every management course that you can think of, because it's one of the very fundamental model that somebody by name Maslow he built that model. It's a model which was derived in the year 1943 for the first time. And it is basically, he focused on something called hierarchy of needs. So the original definition had only 5 layers. Imagine a pyramid or a triangle, and there are 5 segments. The bottommost segment, he said, is physiological needs. Don't have to write too much. I will share pictures and stuff like that. I'm compiling the document on Mundaka-Upanishat itself, so it will contain a lot of detail. So just enough for you to remind what we talked about. I mean, you don't have to write every bit of what I'm saying. So physiological needs are basically food, water, warmth, and rest. Or in Hindi, what we call it as roti kapda makan. Right? So that is the basic needs. Once those needs are achieved, fulfilled, then the safety needs start showing up. Safety needs is all about security and safety. If you see the people on the curb, on the footpath, do you think they have a choice to worry about safety and security? I don't think so. Their first thought process when they get up and go to sleep is, do I have enough food to eat and survive, stay alive? Do I have enough clothing to maintain my dignity and protect myself from the weather? And do I have a place to live? Or am I getting shunted every day? So that once that is fulfilled, once you have that stability achieved, then you're worried about, oh, I have a home, I have a tent. Even if it is a tent, even if you have 5 vessels, even if you have very basic comfort, your next thought is, I hope it stays with me. I hope nobody takes it away from me. Because once you have that sense of belongingness in saying, okay, I have this, these are my possessions, you don't want to let it go. You can't imagine a life without that. Welcome, Padmaja. So you would like to protect that at any cost. Can I request one of you to just post a message in the group specifically to Radha and Sanjay and Rekha, three people, Radha, Sanjay, and Rekha, that we have started the class, because maybe people are getting confused with the change in times. So they will like to keep that with them. And they would also like to now worry about, am I safe in this house? So they'll start building walls, they'll start putting doors, locks, etc. So just having clothes for maintaining your dignity is not enough. You would like to protect your dignity as well. So those are the safety needs. These two are classified by Maslow as basic needs. Once you have a home and you have all these things assured, then your mind starts saying, hey, what's the point in having something and living in isolation? I need to have friends. I need to be recognized by the society. Yeah, welcome, Radha. I need to have friends. I need to have friends. I need to be recognized by the society. So you feel somebody didn't say good morning to me, somebody didn't invite me for this event, and so on and so forth. That's called you're more concerned about relationships, intimate relationships, friends. Intimate in the sense you need a life partner, you need somebody called a family that are close to you that can jump in when you're in trouble, or share your happiness. Those needs surface. They won't surface unless the basic needs are met. So that is called belongingness and love, being loved or cared, that need. Once you have that, then you have the demands of esteem needs coming up. Esteem needs means prestige and feeling of accomplishment. I did this, I did that. This can't run without me. I mean, you guys are nothing without me, and all those kind of things, where mere existence of you being a member of the society is not good enough. You need to be honored, you need to be recognized, you need to be talked about. You love your name in pictures, in newspaper headlines, wherever possible, or somebody making a mention of you in the speech and saying, oh, this is done by Sonal, oh, this book is written by Usha. Without this book, the doctors would be in trouble. So you feel a sense of accomplishment, that you have achieved something in life, and you are somebody, you have done something in your life. Now, the belongingness needs and the accomplishment needs or esteem needs, they are in the psychological needs. That is the next layer in Maslow's theory of hierarchy. I'm going from bottom to top. Okay. So the pyramid is obviously narrowing as you go to the top. It obviously means the number of people in the spectrum that you interact with also will correspondingly decrease. So we had two layers of basic needs, two layers of psychological needs. And the beauty is, once you start achieving all that you were running after, then suddenly the self actualization or self fulfillment needs surface. Oh, what am I going to do with all this money? I'm not going to take it with me. Then the idea of giving back to the society uh, wakes up in your system. Until then, it is there, but it is sort of hidden. So all those foundations that you hear of, Bill Gates and Melinda Foundation and all that. They made enough money because they don't know what to do with that money. So now they feel, oh, I've ignored the society. I've ignored so many people who are suffering, so many people without food, etc. So they will try to spend that money back into the society. And they achieve success and happiness through others' happiness and success. So when you do dan dharma, etc., and you feel somebody who is very starving, and you offer that person food, and they feel, oh, thank you so much, God bless you. That is what you're looking for. No more, Usha is great and Radha is great. That doesn't motivate you. So you become more inward, and you have an achievement of your full potential, and you come up with a lot of creative activities, creative thoughts, how to help people, how to help the society, and so on and so forth. So this model was a very basic model released by him in 1943, and it's basically deficiency needs versus growth needs, basic needs or growth needs. So the deficiency needs are the first four layers: physiological, safety, love, belonging, and esteem. Motivation decreases as needs are met. Please note, motivation decreases as needs are met. But as you cross over to the other side of self actualization, they also use the term yogi for self actualization. I don't prefer to use that because yogi is not just self actualization, it is also called as growth needs. And in this section, motivation increases as needs are met. So, why it is called growth needs? They don't stem from a lack of something, but rather from a desire to grow as a person. So once that growth is satisfied, you look for the next highest level, and you keep going, pushing yourself through the pyramid. Again, this is a very simplistic model. Life usually doesn't work like this. It's not like you keep going up and up and up and you reach self-actualization, realization. There are always ups and downs, and you can have a basic need even when you are a billionaire. In a real world, it is not as two-dimensional as I explained. Uh, Suddenly you'll feel, I need a 5-bedroom house, and 1 bedroom is not enough. So you can go back to the food, clothing, shelter kind of needs without knowing that you're going there. So I just wanted to square up because Radha brought it up in the previous class. So now what Maslow did is, later on, he expanded on these models in the 1960s and 70s. Especially 1954, he made one revision, and 1970 he expanded the model a bit more, where he recognized there are two additional needs, that are cognitive needs and aesthetic needs, and a higher level need called transcendence needs. So imagine, this is actually a very core model in the Western world. Can you imagine when our system taught us all these things? Millions of years ago. So I just wanted to get the connection between the two schools of philosophy. We are not downplaying anybody else, but we're just trying to understand our system as we get impressed by the Western system. So the modified hierarchy now looks like physiological needs in the lowest layer, safety needs in the next layer, belonging and love needs above that. Then you have the esteem needs. This remains like the core model under the deficiency needs category. However, he introduced cognitive needs as the base layer in the growth needs category. After cognitive needs, aesthetic needs, then self-actualization, realization, and then transcendence as one top layer above all of that. So this is what drives people through their life, is what their philosophy is. So I don't want to go too much into this because that was not the purpose with which I started this. So you have the screenshot of the mantras for today. I shared it in the group. So we covered 10 and 11 last time. Hiranmaye pare koshe virajam brahma nishkalam tachubram jyotisham jyotis tadyadatma vido viduhu. Mantra number 10. Mantra number 11 also we covered. Natatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kuto yamagnihi tameva bhantamanubhati satasya bhasa sarvamidam vibhati. This is number 11. Today I will complete the mantra number 12, which is the conclusion of second Mundaka. And once we complete that, we would have completed 66% hypothetically of Mundaka Upanishad. Sonalji never realized what she was getting into. She just casually asked, Guruji, will you teach Mundaka Upanishad? She never thought that it's going to drag so long. And please don't have such expectations for everything that I teach with such level of detail and expansive explanation. It may be possible, it may not be possible. Wherever it is possible, I will keep drilling into it. So you feel that there is a decent amount of learning that you're getting, and you can speak knowledgeably with others whenever you touch upon this topic. So mantra number 12. Brahmai Vedamamritam Brahmai Vedamamritam Purastad Brahma Paschad Brahma Dakshinatas Chottarena. Brahmai Vedamamritam Purastad Brahma Paschad Brahma Dakshinatas Chottarena Adhaschordvam cha prasrutam Adhaschordvam cha prasrutam Brahmai Vedam Vishwamidam Varishtham. Brahmai Vedam Vishwamidam Varishtham. The full mantra. Brahmai Vedam Amritam Purastad Brahma Paschad Brahma Dakshinatas Chottarena Adhaschordvam cha prasrutam Brahmai Vedam Vishwamidam Varishtham. Those who have some basic knowledge of Sanskrit would have already guessed by now the meaning. In case you have not, then let me give you the literal meaning of each word. Idam means this. Amritam is a reference to the immortal. Brahma Purastat, which means Brahman in the front. Eva, verily. Brahma, Brahman. Paschat means behind. So Brahman in the front, Brahman in the back. Dakshinataha means on the right side. Uttarenacha, and also on the left side. Adha, Adha means below. Urdhvam means above. Those who do nyasam, it will be very easy for you to know this. Prasritam means pervading. Brahman is in the front, Brahman is in the back, Brahman is also on the right side, the left side, Brahman is below, Brahman is above. So it's all, that is why we say it's all, Brahman is all pervasive. Vishwam means the universe. Varishtham, we have always been learning that Brahman is the supreme, that nothing existed before the Brahman. Everything is coming out of the Brahman. So Brahman is the supreme, the highest. And which is why we call that this whole universe is his expression or manifestation, also called as the Virat Rupa. I hope all of you know the meaning of Virat, not the cricketer, the real meaning of Virat. Anybody who doesn't know? So all of you know. I don't have to explain. In case you don't know, don't hesitate, because it is important that you understand the nuance of.
We talked about it during creation, isn't it?
Correct.
Virat and Hiranyagarbha.
Correct. So what is Virat in the literal meaning of Virat?
That's what I've forgotten, but I think it's the initial stages of all the elements.
Yeah. Virat is also grand, mega, like it's massive. You can't even measure the size. That is called Virat. It is not big, it is not large, it is not huge, it is not majestic, but it is like you cannot measure the size. That is how massive it is. That is called Virat Rupa. Right? So, in a sense, what this mantra says is, Brahman alone is there, existed before everything, and Brahman is supreme. And what it says is what is real, what is indivisible, and whatever you see in divided manifestations are all false appearances, Maya. So, this is, in a sense, the conclusion of all the Shrutis. I hope all of you know the difference between Shrutis and Smritis. Right? If not, we can cover that in one of the classes. So, it appears to be spread in all directions or existent everywhere, all pervasive, only from the point of view of the individual perceiving it or conceiving it. Please understand each of the words that I'm using here. Whatever you see around you, you see it in divided form, a manifestation of the universe in a divided form. You say, this is the lamp, this is the computer, this is a cup, this is the phone, this is the laptop, etc., etc. And everything you see in a divided fashion is divided only from the point of view of the individual, that is you, perceiving it or experiencing it. And anybody can guess, how do we achieve this whole perception and experience game? What is making us do that?
Ego?
No. Let me answer the question without any suspense. It's a very important thing that you make these connections. We build something called dimensions. Very basic, that we learn in school as one chapter. Little do you realize that lays the foundation of how you view the world. Everything you view in terms of space and time. FPS system, MKS system, SI system, etc., etc. These things innocuously entered your life, but you don't realize that is governing your life thereafter. So everything you measure in terms of, I want to see it to believe it. I want to measure it. Is this big or this is small? Everything is, you need the dimensions. And that is limiting it yourself, your capability. Didn't you get $1 million tip today? And I'm not joking, I'm very serious about it. You take this sentence seriously, and you will see, flip it around, you will probably see the unlocking of that question that you always have: how do I attain moksha? All this theory is good, kosha, annamaya kosha, pranamaya kosha, everything is good. But how do I in reality achieve that moksha? When can I see God? Very simple question. Give me a, it's like those, in school days, I used to see 21 important question papers, like, give you the question and the answer, and I'll be able to memorize it and achieve moksha. Like, true real life doesn't work like that. So you go from experience to realization. That flip need to happen. So you have to free yourself from the dimensions that you have built yourself and start thinking beyond. Start thinking outside of that. So the experience of itself in itself is, in terms of extension or magnitude. You want to measure everything by size. So the true nature actually is absolute. So how do you measure absolute? There is no measurement for absolute. Nicely, we were given one symbol, a sleeping 8, and they said infinity. That was the smartness of that dimension system. So all the conceptions and perceptions are based on the idea of cause and effect, cause and effect. Without that cause and effect, you don't have the ability to understand things. So if that is how you're limiting yourself, how do you get to the point of something that is not an effect of any cause, but it is the origin of the subsequent manifestation? That is the Brahman. So that you have to flip and open up your mind to be able to understand and appreciate that. So when you talk of knowledge, knowledge cannot be divided. So my simple suggestion, I'll keep on giving suggestions in different form and shape. Something may click for somebody, something else may click for somebody else. Just get to the level of craziness and say, oh, okay, I want to believe that this is all Maya. I want to believe and grasp that important concept that these are looking to me in a divided form, but they're all actually one. They're all connected and they're all one. So I'm sure you would have seen the memes on WhatsApp University. A mother having 12 hands, she is all forms of life. When she gets up in the morning and she does the household chores, and then she goes to cooking, and then she goes to work, and then, so imagine this whole universe is like a multidimensional manifestation of the same, of one. It sounds a little crazy, but that's where you need to probably begin to break the barriers and start understanding. Because unless you believe in the existence of something, you cannot pursue the journey, right? You can't limit yourself, which have repeated over and over again in all the classes, that show me the proof, then I will go. Show me the proof, then I will go. Right? Then you're not worth your salt of saying, oh, I attain moksha. No, you didn't attain moksha. You were guided into a direction by somebody with some agenda. One of the reasons why I don't indulge myself too much, with all due respect of all the knowledgeable people like, Sri Ravi Shankar or Sadhguru, they're all very knowledgeable people. They've done a lot to the society. But I don't ever limit myself to the translation that they give. My attempt has always been go to the root book or the original scriptures. It is very frustrating and very difficult to understand, but then you make a beginning, you keep hitting it over and over again. At some point, it opens up your mind, because translations have always been with an agenda. Even Adi Shankaracharya, with who's God, Parameshwara Avatar himself, did things with a purpose for that era. He came down as an avatar with the purpose of doing something in the society to fix some things. So there was an agenda there. So anytime you rely on commentaries, this is a book, this is a commentary on Lalita Sahasranama by so and so, you have to believe. I'm not saying don't read those things or educate yourself. Any knowledge from where you are moving forward is good, but also understand the limitation of that knowledge. It is a commentary, a translation as that person saw it or heard it or experienced it. So when somebody comes in with a different explanation, be prepared to listen to it, absorb it, and form your own conclusions. You don't have to fight to say I am right and you're wrong philosophy, which is why the core three philosophies, or Dvaita, Advaita, and Visishtadvaita, it existed. They all are talking about the same thing, but in a different route, and they never disrespected each other, right? So that is the literal meaning explanation of the second Mundaka completely. If you have the energy, I would like to add something which is so very interesting, and I promised in the previous class that I will do it. Are you ready for that? It is about the three gunas, the koshas, a little bit of which I explained in the previous class. A little bit more detailed explanation on this, and very interesting. I'm assuming with all the explanation of two mundakas, you are reasonably well versed with some of the terms and don't get overwhelmed. If you do, I can repeat the whole thing in the next class before we go to the third mundaka. So, what are the three bodies that we learned so far?
Sthul, Shukshma, and Karana.
Karan. English terms?
Gross, subtle, and causal.
Correct. So, I'm not testing your knowledge. It's always a good practice to keep revising what you know. Then it becomes easy to connect anything new that you're learning. So, what are the three gunas that you know of?
Sattva, Rajas, Tamas.
Correct. So, we all know that, right? So, in a way, I also talked about how are these three gunas present in the three bodies, right? In the previous class, a little bit of that. So, what happens is in the physical body or the gross body, we can see tamas as matter. Tamas is matter. Sattva is the order or the intelligence. And Rajas as the motion or the power in the physical world. So, similarly, in the mind, we have each of the gunas present in terms of our mental disposition: peaceful, contemplative, to dull or irresponsible. The same physical thing you translate into mental state. In the causal body is where it becomes a little complicated to understand. Is we have the sattva as the dharma. Sattva is the dharma field and all the laws that govern everything. You start making decisions or conclusions and understanding of this is right and this is wrong. So you drive your life with that understanding of the Dharma Shastra. Whether you have read the book on Dharma Shastra or not, I always keep alluding to that Patima Sutram. Patima in Tamil is grandmother. That Patima would have never been to a Patashala, Veda Patashala, but whatever she has taught you, I guarantee you, till you die, you will be scared of breaking or being in non-compliance with that law. So she will say, do this, don't do this. This is important. This is not important. You can be a PhD from MIT or Harvard or Yale, but that Padima Sutram will always guide you in your life in some form and shape. So Rajas is the projecting power of Maya. Right? So let's drill down into a little bit of detail and start connecting some of the other terminologies that we have learned. So we have learned over and over again about something that exists as an eternal conscience, right? That is Brahman. In Brahman exists the principle of Maya, which is what we call as the causal matter. And Maya should be associated with Moola Ajnanam. Moola means core, basic, or first. First. There are different ways you can look at it. What is Ajnanam? Correct. So, moment you say ignorance, what is the next word that should come to your mind?
Knowledge.
Correct. So, Moola Ajnanam, Moola Avidya, and Moola Prakriti. These are the causal matter. Remember, lower level knowledge, higher level knowledge, removal of darkness by knowledge, avidya, vidya, para, apara, right? All of those things should come to your mind. Now, causal matter is not a material substance. It's not something that you can see it, touch it, and experience it or believe it, right? So, we conceive about that matter. It is a very subtle agent by which the Brahman, the consciousness, is conditioned, and the manifest universe is then projected into those three forms: causal, subtle, and gross aspects. Are you with me so far?
Just repeat the last one.
Huh?
Just repeat the last.
Yeah, the causal matter is not a material substance. It's not a physical substance that you can touch and feel and experience. It is your conception of the matter itself, but it's a subtle agent that by which you have Brahman is conditioned, seemingly conditioned. And it is your way of understanding the manifest universe, and you categorize it by causal, subtle, and gross aspects. Now, Brahman is also the conscious principle that makes knowing possible. So, without consciousness, you are not going to be able to have knowledge. So, when you talk of consciousness, what are the terms that should come to your mind immediately? Never expected there will be a test. Huh? Quickly, you should understand the four states: awaken, sleep, deep sleep, and the Turiya fourth state.
The last step, Turiya.
Turiya is you've transcended. You in Maslow's theory, it is in the transcendence. But you go through the three states every day. So I'm trying to connect all the different terminologies that you've learned into a simple, nice hierarchy. So that will help you. So instead of the relative action of knowing, which takes place within one's antakarana. Antaha means internal, karana is instrument. 15 minutes. Thanks. It's an antakarana, inner instrument, and that consists of manas, which is mind, buddhi, which is intellect, chitta, which is memory, and what is the last element?
Ahamkam.
Super. See, Sonalji, 4 5 months ago, you were so shy and so not willing to answer any question. Now you are just hitting the ball out of the park. Very well said, and that encourages me even more. So at least I'm not now. There is evidence that I'm not blabbering. Whatever I'm saying is being is comprehensible. So good. So similarly, Maya, which is the inert matter, is the principle of ignorance because it prevents the antahkarana from understanding the true identity of Brahman. So, in short, there exists two beginningless principles, namely Brahman, the limitless awareness, and Maya, the causal or original matter. They appear to be different, but they are the same. So, we need to understand this contradiction. We say it is different but same. If you say this to a foreigner or a Western guy, they will go nuts. I believe Indians are disposed to understand these things by nature. So we will drill down into the fabric of Maya, what is called Maya. And that Maya is divided into three gunas, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. So some people also conceive it as energies. When you talk of gunas, they associate it directly with the energies. Because each of these things, Tattva, they have an energy aspect as well. So gunas are the subtlest and the most fundamental constituents of which every aspect of the manifest universe is made. Sattva is the nature of light, clarity, purity, insight, knowledge, intelligence, inspiration, peace, contentment, harmony, order, beauty. So, common feature amongst all of these words that I used is the essential power is that of revelation. Something is revealed. Without light, you won't be able to reveal anything. Without clarity, you won't be able to understand that. Correct? If it is muddied water, you will see nothing unless it is crystallized, clear. So the essential power is that of revelation. Rajas is the nature of passion or desire, activity or motion, or creativity or force and will. So, what is the essential element here? Any marks for guessing?
Action.
Very close to it, but the essential element here is projection. First is the revelation, Sattva is revelation, Rajas is of projection. The third one, Tamas, is the nature of density or heaviness, groundedness, solidity, practicality, dullness, apathy, laziness, and ignorance. So here, the essential power is concealment, hiding. So you cannot say any of these gunas is good or bad. The character of these gunas can have a positive or negative influence within the context of a given circumstance or endeavor. For example, if you take tamoguna, ignorance is something that we want to avoid. However, tamas is also responsible for the material substance out of which the physical universe is formed. So if you say ignorance is bad, you should avoid it, that means you're avoiding matter as well. Doesn't make sense. Because it also provides the psychological stability. And that psychological stability is what makes you act on a thought. So if you have a thought and you're going to act upon it, you need that psychological stability to do it. It also brings in a physiological regularity that affords us stability to rejuvenate via sleep. Common sense, but very powerful, right? So it establishes a physiological regularity that affords us the ability to rejuvenate via sleep. Rajoguna. In its extreme, it causes very unbridled, mindless, and sometimes unethical pursuit of desires. And immediately we say, oh, no, we should not have Rajoguna. But it also provides us with necessary determination to get things done and accomplish our goals. And an important goal is correct. Aha. Now I will slowly start asking Sonalji to conduct some of the classes. Very impressive. See, that's all it takes for you to connect all the dots. Very good. Sattva guna. Even in Sattva guna, which people go after, there's a drawback. So you need the sattvic mind, because it is the springboard from self-inquiry to assimilation of self-knowledge. You inquire and you go after that to acquire that knowledge, and once you get the knowledge, you assimilate that knowledge. It's a constant process that happens. But if you have too much of sattva, you can become too flighty, बोलते हैं ना, हवा में उड़ना, and impractical to take care of one's worldly responsibilities. So you talk of all big things and you forget the day-to-day tactical things that is essential for you to be staying afloat. So too much of sattva guna also is not good. So too much of sattva guna can give you a very spiritual conceit, where it will make you believe that you are a very highly advanced seeker. I mean, you are in that self-realization zone when you haven't even done your job in the lower basic needs and psychological needs. So, in simple terms, there is no shortcut. You can't say, oh no, straight away I've gone to the 6th level because I'm super. And little do you realize that you are not even meeting the basic needs. So getting into a zone that I am a know-all and I'm a teacher and I know everything, I'm teaching people, and people falling at my feet, all of these things can put you in a wrong direction. Because you self-certify that you are an enlightened individual and you're a highly accomplished individual. So now you can connect that to the Maslow's theory or Maslow's model. You will know the dangers. So Maya is both the causal matter, and start getting used to the term Mula or Pradhana or Prakriti. So Maya is the causal matter, and the conditioning effect of that causal matter is Brahman. The initial effect that Maya exerts on Brahman is to cause it to black out, so to speak. It has a negative effect. You get impressed with the Maya, then you get lost into everything else and you get clouded. And go back to the explanation I gave 3-4 minutes ago. You'll be able to connect all the dots. So, Vyakta is manifest, Avyakta is unmanifest. So this avyakta, unmanifest, is the state that we commonly refer to as the macrocosmic causal body. Macrocosmic causal body. Unlike the causal body that is associated with the jiva, apparently that individual person, we keep saying jivatma, jivatma, and paramatma. Right? The jiva, Maya is not a storehouse of personally accumulated karma. Because when you talk of personally accumulated karma, it requires or creates a body, the physical body, through which you can experience oneself. So the original unmanifest state from which all manifestation springs is called as avyakta. So in avyakta also there are three gunas. Each of the gunas have two basic powers, and they are called as avarana shakti, power of concealment, and vikshepa shakti, the power of projection. So remember the definition of three gunas that I gave. One is revelation, one is concealment, and one is projection. So by means of these two powers, the power of concealment and projection, each guna produces a different upadhi. Upadhi, very important word. And the upadhi accounts for one of the three essential aspects of manifestation. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to stop here because you need to drill down and understand what is upadhi in a more detailed form. And I don't want to dump too many things in one go. Soak in whatever you learned today. See if you're able to connect the dots. See if you're able to visualize things. And when time permits, I will try to convert some of these things into charts or graphs and pictures that will help you. So far, so good.
Excuse me. So Avarana Shakti is the tamas part.
Sorry?
Avarana Shakti is from the tamas of the gunas, three gunas.
Correct.
And Vikshepa is the rajas.
Correct.
So the sattva is what? What is the sattva?
Projection. Revelation. Sattva is revelation.
Revelation. Okay, thank you.
So maybe you can replay the YouTube video and revise and take notes. And we will continue this in the next class. All right. So I will stop the live stream.